impressions, Matt, on the last 2 days?
Well, I mean, I'd have to go day by day. I'd say the first day we had young guys that just need a little more experience and fought really hard. And they went out there and they battled, they gave it everything they had. Today, I didn't see the fight. I know we got really talented athletes. I mean, Robbie, Cheney, Ildar, tough guys. Where was the fight? You know, I mean, this is a sport, man. We're supposed to be enjoying it and having fun. These guys were so tense and nervous out there, and they just didn't relax and compete up to their abilities. And they let those matches slip away. I mean, those were all winnable matches that we lost today. So, I mean, I can't really break it down. In 2 days, I got to break it down separate days. Our young guys are fighting hard. They need a little more experience. Our older guys need to find that fight in them. Again, they're great athletes. They're incredible competitors. I just didn't see it today, and we got to find that fight.
How frustrating is that for you? Because I mean, you've been an elite wrestler. I mean, you know what it's like.
I mean, I know what it takes, and it's not like I'm not sharing it with them. You know, but it's nerves, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they were wrestling to hold on to something. Nobody had world titles they were protecting, so I don't know what we were saving it for. You know, we saw it right at the end of every period, like, oh, I'm going to go hard. Well, there's 4 freaking seconds left, man. Let's start that 3 minutes ago. So,
is there? So Ellis in his interview said, you know, he puts it all on the individual athletes. What are the coaches saying?
Ellis put it on the line. Ellis fought, man. Ellis fought. I mean, he got called for pushing the guy in the face, which was kind of BS. You know, he got scolded for trying to headlock. I mean, you know, he was out there fighting. He got some tough calls, and he wrestled a tough competitor. But what did Ellis say? I mean,
what's the conversation among the coaches right now?
Well, I haven't talked to my staff yet. I think we'll debrief this thing after we get. I mean, I think it's a somber tone, but nobody's really chatting it up right now.
So can you talk about, you know, this is the first year really with the new rules and, you know, the no forced parterre, and how do you think that played a factor this week?
Well, I think if the officials actually called it like they said they would, we've been training for this. We've been training to score points and compete, and we got guys grabbing wrists, grabbing fingers, blocking, heads down. I mean, look at Ellis's match, for example, that first match. You know, I mean, the guy's head was in his chest. You know, I mean, is he going to take a risk? No. You know, so he took the simple push-outs. He wrestled smart in that case. You know, but that's what we saw the same thing with with Robbie's opponent. You know, grabbing, blocking, pushing. You know, nobody was wrestling here. It's going to hurt our sport. You know, so we either got to make some adjustments again, or we really got to hold the referees accountable to making the call net like they tell us they're going to call it. You know, we're gonna. They said hooking. They want to see underhooks. They want to see overhooks. They want to see attempts. And we saw blocking, and we didn't see enforcement to penalize the athletes that were blocking. You know, I mean, look at the semifinals out there. It was a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. I mean, these were not exciting matches. And then you look at our athletes. You know, I mean, just take example our juniors that were competed. I mean, they were throwing, they were scoring points. One of our athletes scored 58 points in one tournament. You know, and I'm seeing one-point matches, 2-point matches here. So you either got to let those athletes, those young athletes, matriculate into the seniors that know how to wrestle now. They've been taught to wrestle. They've had those rules. Juniors, what, 3 years now? This is the 3rd year for the juniors to have those rules. So we're starting to see it. So maybe we just need to retire all the seniors and bring the juniors up and keep these rules. Or we got to fix it, and I don't know what the answer to fixing it is right now. I think it really comes down to the officials enforcing what they say they're going to do.
Is that the issue, just not adapting to some of the changes, the rule changes, you think? Or?
Not adapting as far as the athletes not adapting? Yeah, I think a lot of the senior athletes that have had the old rules haven't adapted to the new rules, and the officials haven't enforced it and made them, you know, I mean, penalize them. If they're not adapting, penalize them. You know, they'll figure it out quick.
You mentioned the frustration. You know, it seemed like as each guy rolled through here, they were just frustrated. I mean, is that sort of a sense you got?
Yeah, and I do. I think it's because we were told all along we're going to enforce these. We're going to, you know, if your head's down, we're going to call you. If you're grabbing fingers, it's caution in 2. You know, but we didn't see any of that in any of the matches. We didn't see that at all. No problem. Go this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way you can keep talking.
All right. Go ahead.
Matt, you were somewhat joking about the juniors, but I imagine you're somewhat serious. I mean, last year juniors were in second after day 1. Today they're in first after day 1. What is your plan, you know, to try and get those guys onto the senior level and push the current guys?
Well, that is the plan. Is to have these guys, you know, have to fight for their spots. I mean, maybe they're too comfortable. I mean, nobody's challenging Robbie. He's comfortable out there. And like I said, Robbie's an incredible wrestler. He's skilled. He's got all kinds of tools. I mean, we saw a body lock from the other side. You know, I mean, he's developing new skills all the time. But we have to enforce the head down, the blocking, the pushing away, or we need to just bring up our new generation of athletes that have had these rules.
Good.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Thanks.